What's up everyone? Today I am going to tell you all of the tropes and the things that I hate in thrillers, and then I'm going to tell you all the books that fall into those tropes and things. So literally, this video is just going to be a huge list of thrillers I do not like. Now you're probably wondering, like, why am I making this video? Why am I recommending thrillers that I do not like? And the reason is that I think that I have an unpopular opinion. I think that I am very particular with thrillers. I think that I like different things than other people like when they're reading thrillers. And my friend Jordan over at Storybooked Solid, she has mentioned many times that our taste in thrillers is completely the opposite. So she had commented on one of my videos before and she was like, you know, I would love to have a video of all the thrillers that you don't like, because those are the thrillers that she actually would pick up to read. So that's what this video is. This is a thriller recommendation video, but obviously it's for those of you that have the opposite taste as me. You know, you love all the thrillers that I don't like and vice versa. So I have done a lot of research. I actually have like 3 or 4 pages and I have it all listed out with like the trope or the thing or format that I don't like, and then I have a list of the thrillers that fall into that category. So I'm trying to keep this as organized as possible. I'm not going to go through a bunch of different synopsises because number 1, I know a lot of people don't like to read the synopsises on their thrillers. Number 2, that would make this video really, really long. And number 3, I'm just too lazy, and a lot of these I read a while ago, so I don't remember all of the details about them. So we're gonna keep this short and sweet. Okay, number 1, the first thing that I hate in my thrillers is when they have a long letter at the end explaining the whole reason as to why everything happened or how it all happened, or you know, how it adds up at the end. I have 3 books that specifically I remember like this being one of the things I hated about these books. And I should also mention that all of the books I'm talking about in this video are probably 3 stars and below. So these are like 3, 2, and 1 star reads. I obviously don't hate these things in the thrillers that I rate 4 and 5 stars, because that's why I rate them 4 and 5 stars. So in this category, we have Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. His and Hers by Alice Feeney also falls into this category. And then The Arrangement by Robin Harding. Do not get this confused with The Arrangement by Kirsten Modglin, which I really, really love. That's a 5-star thriller. The Arrangement by Robin Harding is only like a 3-star for me. Next up, something that I also do not like in my thrillers are boring courtroom scenes or dialogue from detectives. Again, His and Hers by Alice Feeney falls into this. We also have Reconstructing Amelia. This is by Kimberly McCreet. This one definitely is like pretty heavy on like the law-ish kind of thriller. We have Dear Wife by Kimberly Bell. This one kind of reminds me of Gone Girl, but like not in a good way. The Familiar Dark by Amy Engel. This one is very heavily detective. As Long as We Both Shall Live, and also He Will Be My Ruin. So if you like courtroom scenes, if you like detective thrillers, those are the books that you might want to check out. Next up, I do not like when there are way too many POVs in order to keep everyone straight. There's so many characters, you know, everyone's getting confused, or even maybe the characters are all similar and they all act the same and you have no clue who Ashley and who Amy was because they all act the same. Or books that I do not like that have this in it, You Are Not Alone. 6 Weeks to Live by Catherine McKenzie, An Unwanted Guest by Sherry LaPena, and The Passengers by John Mars. This next one is going to be a huge list because this is one of my biggest pet peeves when I'm reading thrillers. It's mysteries that drag or are way too slow. There's no plot. I don't know why they're called a thriller. Nothing happens. Like, oh my gosh, this list is very big. So we have Misery by Stephen King. This one just could have definitely been a short story. Like, it would have been really good if it was a short story. We have Baby Teeth by Zoja Stage. This one, again, there is just the same thing over and over again happening. Butterfly Garden, even though it's disturbing, it is very boring. The River at Night. This is supposed to be actually labeled like the best thriller of all time, and it was not thrilling at all. Most of it is dialogue and most of it is nothing happening. The Woman in the Window, one of the worst books I've ever read. Tender is the Flesh. Again, this one had so much dialogue, nothing really happened. A lot of people talk about how it being like, you know, really gory and dark, but like, when? I'm too busy trying to read all the dialogue in order to get to the gory parts. The Passengers also falls into this again because it just was not super thrilling. It was very boring. There was a lot of dialogue. There was a lot of POVs, you know, all of that just adds up to just no thrill. An unwanted guest also falls in this one again. The Escape Room by Megan Golden, which I really, really loved her other book, The Night Swim, but The Escape Room was terrible. My Dark Vanessa also had way too much dialogue, nothing really happened, and it's supposed to be one of those disturbing books because it's about like an old teacher kind of like sexually harassing a younger student, but I just couldn't get past all of the like words that didn't mean anything in order to actually get to the storyline. And then B.A. Paris's Bring Me Back, that one also, I remember getting to the end of that book and I was like, why did I read all of this? I also have to put Lock Every Door by Riley Sager in here and Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I know people are gonna come for me for this, but like, it's true. I know it's hard to swallow, but it's true. Next up, we have Unrealistic Stories, which again, one of my big pet peeves. I do not like when you get to the end of a thriller and all of this crazy stuff happens, which like obviously wouldn't happen in real life, or people would notice if it happened in real life, and you're just supposed to be content with that ending or rave about that ending, and you're like, but. So, The Girl in 6E, I know so many people that love this book. It is so unrealistic. Tell me when a sex cam girl is going to be able to solve a mystery before an actual detective. Turn of the Key is another one. Oh my gosh, like that nanny and everything that happened in that book, totally unrealistic. Again, The River at Night. There's another book called Call Me Evie, which was very unrealistic. This one is more of like a kidnap survival type of book. The Chain, which the first half, don't get me wrong, the first half was actually pretty good. The second half was a train wreck. Again, I'm gonna have to throw in His and Hers by Alice Feeney and Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, because you cannot tell me that the ending of Rock, Paper, Scissors that no one would notice. You can't tell me that. We also have Layla by Colleen Hoover, because I mean, that's never gonna happen, okay? And then again, Baby Teeth by Zoja Stage. I think it's very unrealistic that the way that the whole parent dynamic happened in that book, I just don't think that that's how it would actually play out. Okay, next up we have character driven instead of plot driven. I am not a huge fan of character driven. I love a good plot, and so that's why like having a thriller with tons of characters or it being character driven is not my favorite, but I do know a lot of people like it. Doesn't mean that the book is bad per se. It just means that it's not my favorite. Okay, we have Do No Harm by Christina McDonald. This one is definitely highly character driven. I would actually say most of Christina McDonald's books are, even though I did really like some of the other ones that I've read, but they are much more emotional character driven than they are like thriller plot driven. We have Survivor Song by Paul Tremblay, which was, I mean, kind of incredibly boring, like nothing really happened, but it's because it was very character driven. I also have to put Hairpin Bridge in here. Like, other than the 4,327 car chases that were in there, the only other thing that happened was dialogue over and over and over again from the same two characters. And then last but not least, I'll put Rock, Paper, Scissors in here again because I feel like it was only about the characters. It was just back and forth talking with the characters. Nothing else was happening. Okay, now we have predictable endings because of overused tropes. So I think that I definitely have a problem with this because I am a major thriller reader. And so because my main genre is thrillers, I've read a bunch, I've seen a bunch, so it's really hard to surprise me anymore. So I'm just gonna read these off. We've got Dear Wife, which again, kind of like Gone Girl. We have Turn of the Key, The Third Twin, Woman in the Window, The Other Mrs. Miller, An Unwanted Guest, The Escape Room, The Wife Upstairs, One of Us is Lying, and The Arrangement. These just all have very predictable endings. Definitely nothing was shocking, and it's just because the tropes that were used in there were definitely used in so many others. So like, for instance, I'll just give you an example. I won't tell you what book it is in, but like when someone has a particular name in the beginning and then you find out at the end that they like changed their name, and then you're like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, no. Because I've seen that happen in so many thrillers, having that as the twist at the end or even in the middle of it doesn't do anything for me anymore because I've already seen it happen so many times. So a name change that we never knew of before, like, that's not new. Okay, these next ones are because I absolutely can't stand the writing style. They're either told backwards or their writing style is like choppy or whatever it would be. There's just something, I had a problem with the writing style. Number one, I'm going to say, All the Missing Girls. I despise that book with every fiber of my being because it's legitimately told backwards, okay? And it is the most difficult thing to follow ever. I don't think that it was done well. I don't think it makes sense, and I don't think it should ever be done again. I will say that The Woman in the Window goes on this list because it is incredibly choppy. Turn of the Key was really awkward because it's written how she would actually have told her lawyer the story. It's written as in a letter to her lawyer, but obviously that's not how people would actually like write a letter or tell a story, so that did not work for me. The Wife Upstairs had confusing timelines, so that's why I'm putting this one on here. And then the Child Finder switched POVs so often, I always got confused with what was happening. Next up, we have trendy or poetic thrillers with deeper meanings. Sorry, that was a lot of air quotes. These thrillers I always have a problem with because when I'm reading something, I don't wanna have to go and read a bunch of like theories about it. I don't want to have to like ask people what it meant. I don't want to have to do any research. I don't want to have to read it twice to understand it. And these all have been, those are all things that people have said to me when I've read these. So first up, we have I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I know that this book is small, but I could not stand the amount of people that told me that I need to read the book, then read theories about it, and then go back and read the book so that way I could understand it. No, I do not have time for that. If you can't make a book make sense in the first time someone reads it, you have a problem. Then we have The Water Cure, which is this like really weird, poetic dystopian of some sort. We have Call Me Evie, which again, I just did not really understand the way that that book was written. And then Neverworld Wake, which again has like really weird time lapses and like, it is confusing. Okay, next up we have books that shouldn't be marketed as thrillers. This is another big pet peeve of mine because I do not like going into a book because it's marketed as a thriller, but it actually turns out it's more like literary fiction or women's fiction or something like that. Her Pretty Face by Robin Harding, that one definitely falls in here. Jane Doe falls in here. Little Lovely Things, I don't even know why people called that one a thriller. My Dark Vanessa, not a thriller. Do No Harm, I definitely don't think it should be labeled as a thriller. Dead to Her, no. 6 Weeks to Live, again, I don't think so. I think that a lot of these need to just have like a light suspense category, if we say. Luckiest Girl Alive, Neverworld Wake, and I feel like Home Before Dark should just be in the horror category, but like Scooby-Doo horror. Next up, we have Hyped for No Reason or Overhyped, which I know most of your favorites are going to be on here because if you don't know anything about me, hi, my name is Jackie, and I do not think that a hyped thriller means that it's good. So on here we have The Turn of the Key, The Woman in the Window, I'm Thinking of Ending Things, The Passengers, Lock Every Door, Home Before Dark, and Rock, Paper, Scissors. I'm sure there's other ones, I just forgot to put them on here. But if it's a popular hyped thriller, most of the time I am probably not going to like it because I think that what happens is when like popular thriller authors come out with a new book that everyone's waiting for, that everyone just assumes it's gonna be really good, or they get the Book of the Month copy, so of course it's good if Book of the Month has it. And no, like you need to think for yourself. You need to actually, you know, is this good? I just feel like a lot of times they're overhyped. Next we have atmospheric thrillers or a lot of description. Now, I know this is definitely a preference. I do not like atmospheric thrillers. I don't like tons of description. Some people really, really, really like that. So that's definitely like something that, you know, I have a preference on. If a new thriller comes out and it's said to be like very, you know, atmospheric and descriptive, I'm most of the time not gonna pick it up. So the ones that fall into this are Turn of the Key, My Dark Vanessa, Misery, Lock Every Door, Home Before Dark, Rock, Paper, Scissors. Those are the ones that I read, didn't like the atmosphere of them, definitely don't like all of the description in them, so I know that it's not for me. Last but not least, this is definitely a personal preference of mine. We have naughty children, overdone, or annoying characters. And most of these I think have the naughty children thing because I cannot stand when a thriller is supposed to be thrilling just because there is a child that is, you know, overreacting, not listening, whatever it is, like throwing a fit. That's not a thriller, okay? That's not a thriller. That's called bad parenting. For these, we have Turn of the Key, Baby Teeth, 5 Total Strangers, A Head Full of Ghosts, Bring Me Back, The Passengers, and Layla. Specifically, leads in Layla really gets me. All right, I think that's it. That was all of my thriller book recommendations that I do not recommend and that I do not like. I hope that you enjoy this and maybe you guys will get some good recommendations out of it. I would love to know in a comment down below, like, have you read some of these and you loved them? Are you going to choose some of these to put on your next TBR? Like, I would love to know if this list actually helped you or if you actually agreed with me and you were like, oh yeah, unrealistic ending. Oh yeah, naughty child. Let me know because I would love to see if other people feel the same way as me. Okay, that's it. I will see you all in another video soon. Bye everyone.